According to a new poll, if US President Joe Biden decides not to run again in 2024, Vice President Kamala Harris and the former First Lady Michelle Obama are the leading Democratic Party contenders. Joining us live now is our political analyst and professor at Curtin University, Joe Siracusa. I'm not sure about Michelle Obama, but surely Kamala Harris would think she's a chance. Who's the poll by and how much credit are you giving it, Joe?
Well, it's a Harris Hill poll. It's an independent poll, and it's pretty good. What it's doing is probing people in the Democratic Party about who they want to go forward. And look, the Democratic Party are true believers. They believe in Kamala Harris, and they'd love to get Michelle Obama up there. And they're quite sure, actually, that Biden is not going to recover from his negative figures. He's underwater on the economy, immigration, foreign policy. He was getting a little bigger mark in coronavirus, but that hasn't worked out. And this is a big weekend for the president, Pete, because he now has more than 350,000 deaths on his watch. He used to say that Trump got all these people killed because he didn't know what he was doing. So now we have another 350,000 plus something coming over the ocean that we don't know anything about. So in every possible way, Joe Biden's presidency is slipping away, and there's not much he can do about it. Now, people know he's not going to run. He said the other day that he's available for re-election in 2024. That, of course, is whistling in the dark. It's not going to happen. But clearly, Democrats have given up on him, too, as well as the general public. He's lost the independents and a lot of other people. And I'm very worried about the things that you see in America. You know, we have food insecurity among Americans with children. We have the working poor are still the working poor. Despite all the nonsense about legislation, the minimum wage is $7.25. So Americans, many Americans, those who traditionally vote Democratic, are going backwards. So he can't count on them. And look, President Trump's got a good run for the presidency if he wants it. But, you know, even though he has a 99% lock on it, he's one of these guys who, if he knows people loves it, he might just walk away and decide to enjoy the rest of his life. So it's all open. But the thing is, President Biden is gone, and now the Democrats are searching around. I'll tell you what, they would rather be right on cultural issues and win the election because they're going to go down the way they want.
It's a recent poll in Iowa shows a disapproval rating for President Joe Biden has fallen to 62%. Let's bring in our political analyst, as we always do on a Monday, from Curtin University, Joe Siracusa. Joe, good morning to you. So it started around the exit of Afghanistan, right? And it's kind of tumbled since there. Where's this going to end?
Good morning, Pete. Yes. Look, we're witnessing this past week, particularly with polls like that and Gallup and the Gallup poll, we're witnessing the death of the 2020 Joe Biden. Biden was elected essentially with his 80 million votes because he appeared to be safer hands than Donald Trump, more reliable than Donald Trump, more of a compromiser. It turns out in the last couple of weeks, particularly last week, that none of these things has proven true. He was supposed to have got the pandemic under control by July 4th. That didn't happen. In fact, Americans have suffered 100,000 additional deaths in the last 90 days. So no one's in control. And there are 70 million Americans out there who are not going to get a vaccination, not because they don't believe or disbelieve in them. It's just they're protesting. They're protesting a government that they find treats them very badly. They feel that the government's contemptible and that the government doesn't trust them. So this is a political protest that people are willing to risk their lives for. And of course, the Democratic Party is imploding in Congress. I mean, we have an infrastructure bill, which America needs. Roads and bridges are falling down. And the progressives in the Democratic Party are tying it to a very large social policy package pushed by Bernie Sanders and others, which is about free child care, and it's about eyeglasses and hearing aids and free dental and free this and that and free junior college and fighting climate change and the rest of it. And that's not going anywhere at $3.5 or $3.2 trillion. So the progressives decided that they both have to go forward together. The moderates say that can't be done. And so the progressives are prepared to blow up the whole thing. And Biden, he's lost control of it. He's now tied the one bill to the other instead of making one sequential to the other. So he's lost control of that. And of course, we've been talking in this show the last couple of weeks of Biden's failure to build back the American reputation overseas. Aside from Boris Johnson and Scott Morrison, I doubt the president has picked up any new friends in the world. He hasn't handled the North Korean crisis. He hasn't got back to the table on Iran. Not much is happening with Russia and the renewal of a treaty. And of course, relations with China continue to go downhill.
Joe, since we spoke yesterday, a whole lot's happened. So how have you made sense of the breaking news this morning that last flight has finally left?
Yeah, good morning, Pete. Yes, I saw that and been reading all these doomsday essays and reports in the United States about everybody has abandoned Afghanistan. Pete, I got to tell you something. When I was watching these planes disappear into the night, all I could think about was that great lyric in Hotel California that says, you can check out anytime you like, but you never can leave this place. We're not leaving the place.
So war's over. So war's apparently over, Joe, but it's not really over. Not for the Afghans anyway.
No. Even as we're speaking here, they were debating a resolution in the UN about free passage of anybody who wants to go. It's going to become the basis of debating war powers acts in the United States. It's going to determine the future of Joe Biden, which looks pretty dim right now. Look, you never leave a place after you've been at war there. It's just not possible. Now, the Taliban, of course, they're very bad actors, or they're very good actors right now. We'll see what they're going to do. I think the big problem we're going to have with them is the dual nationality. We have a number of Americans there who have two passports, and the Taliban don't recognize dual nationality. You know, once an Afghan, always an Afghan, which is something the British said in the 19th century too. Once an Englishman, always an Englishman. So we're going to have those kinds of problems. But look, the whole world is looking down on them in terms of the education of women and children and the freedom of this and that. And so we're not going to leave. And the world has got this huge refugee problem. There are 38 million Afghans. They all can't leave. They don't all want to leave, as a matter of fact. So, but this is a good chance for us to sort of sit back and figure out where we've been. You know, they say it's been a war for 20 years, but, you know, it ain't really been a war. We haven't had troops all over the place. I mean, there hasn't been great conflict. It's been more like a peacekeeping mission. So we call it a war. I mean, Vietnam was a real war. That was something else again. So everyone's watching the Taliban very closely. We're going to have these huge debates in the United States, and I think in Australia, it's a good chance for Australians to think about what their obligations are to refugees, and there are millions of them on the move, et cetera. And so, you know, life's going to go on. It's not quite as the end of things. I got a kick out of listening to the general who was in charge of all this, McKenzie, and they asked him about the equipment. He said he demilitarized it. So we have all these kind of euphemisms for destroying.
Yeah, what does that mean, Joe? What does that actually mean? And what they've taken some cords out, which means you can't turn the ignition on?
That means you break up the furniture on the way out the door. You know, you've seen college kids do
Okay,
this.
but there is that. There is still somewhat 350,000 weapons, plus whatever else is there.
They've got that. Look, they got the Humvees. I don't think they have the mechanics to keep them on the road. They got Black Hawk helicopters. They don't have anything to keep them up. But keep in mind, when the Americans decided they wanted to go, and this is the big problem, they decided to go at the height of the fighting season. That's the dumb part, is that they took the 18,500 contractors with them. These are the guys that made the food, kept the planes up in the air, were the mechanics on the car. It's just keeps the...
Well, sorry, we're running out of time. Joe, but I do want to get in. Following the midterms, I mean, the expectation is that the Republicans will get control of the House again. Is that when impeachment for Joe Biden comes?
Pete, as soon as the House gets 218 votes, they're going to impeach Joe Biden as sure as night follows day. I'll tell you what, if they had their druthers, they'd impeach Hillary Clinton too. I mean, they're going to go. And because, you know, Pelosi opened this door, you're going to impeach a man over a phone call to Ukraine. You've asked for it. It's coming.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're going to have that kind of turmoil. But look, this has been an interesting episode. The lives of the Afghans have improved a little bit. Maybe it's going to go backwards, you know, and at the end of the day, it's their problem to solve. This has to be a decision done by the Afghans. And just keep in mind, today at the UN, China and Russia abstained from the resolution to provide free passage or safe passage and all that. So the Russians and the Chinese have made it very clear that whatever we think about Afghanistan, they got some very different ideas about how the world ought to look.